I've recently heard, read, and engaged in a lot of debates amongst the fine people of the Halo community. These debates have very similar points and arguments, so I decided it was time I formally weighed in on them. The subject in question is how Spartans stand up against various other protagonists and antagonists from various other franchises. I have found myself reading through dozens of well-considered and reasonable responses as to why Spartans are that much better than whatever aggressor they've been put up against, as well as just as many counters to how Spartans are not as powerful as people suggest they are. Well, I'm about to upset a lot of you guys who claim that Spartans aren't as powerful as they're made out to be. But I suggest, if you're already typing a comment to rebuke it, or are considering stopping the video and marching off in a huff, that you reconsider and stick with me here a little bit, as I've thought this one through at length and think you'll understand what I'm getting at once this video comes to a close. So come on, scroll back up from the comments, move your mouse away from the close button, sit back down in your chair, take a sip of chamomile tea, and cut yourself a healthy portion of humble pie while I just quickly run through this. I'll just take a swig of my drink. It's a Glenlivet Founder's Reserve in an old-fashioned tumbler and a single cube of ice if you're interested. Cheers. And now we've got that out of the way, let's get to it.
I need a weapon.
Right this way.
Now let's be clear, I know in nearly all examples of the counter-argument that Spartans are not as tough as they're claimed to be, that the people making these arguments are giving examples of in-game performance as the basis of their claims, upright refuting the performance we regularly see in the lore as a whole. I'm sure you've also noted that they do not extend the same rules in their argument for the aggressor they're claiming could beat a Spartan hands down, directly referencing the lore and ignoring the in-game performance or performances witnessed in other medias that portray their chosen victor in a marginally less powerful way. So let's set this straight by referencing a few examples I have seen very recently. A Spartan versus a Terminator T-800. Spartan wins because they're fast and strong. Example is, well, Terminators are made of half titanium, half coltan. In the closing moments of Halo 3, Chief begins to fall from the back of the Dawn as it accelerates away from the Ark and the firing Halo. To stop himself, he smashes his fist through the titanium deck grating of the ship, ripping a long hole into it until he comes to a stop. He then climbs back up, and when he reaches the solid deck plates, he punches handholds into the deck plates with little to no effort on his part. A Spartan could outmaneuver a Terminator and basically just rip it to bits. A Spartan versus Iron Man. Now, Iron Man is epic, there's no doubt about it, but against a Spartan, he'd be destroyed. In a similar fashion to the previous example, a Spartan wouldn't struggle to destroy the titanium armour of the Iron Man suit, or outmaneuver and overpower Iron Man himself. A Spartan versus the pilots from Titanfall. While the pilots are nimble and augmented, they are still just basically special forces in relatively basic armour. A Spartan wouldn't have any trouble putting a pilot down. A Spartan versus a clone commando from Star Wars. I mean, seriously, I don't even particularly think this is worth talking about. A Spartan versus a Destiny Guardian. While Guardians possess some gifts given to them by the Traveller, when it boils down to it, you're still basically looking at a lightly armoured human against a 7-foot-tall armoured tank that can move with untrackable reflexes and hit so hard they could punch a hole through your chest. Spartan versus Javelins, which, I mean, Javelin suits are quite impressive. They're from the Anthem game, but compared to a Spartan, they're slow, they're not particularly well suited to stand up against a foe who can move as fast and fight as hard as a Spartan can, so there's really not much of a match there either. Spartans versus Predators. If a Spartan can destroy countless elites and brutes, a Predator would be no real issue. Spartans are one of the only individuals who can actually spot the tiny waver in the air that reveals an elite in active camouflage, and Spartans are masters of stealth and ambush offensive tactics. Spartan versus Captain America. While he's strong and fast and extremely resilient, Cap's primary fighting technique is closing distance and fighting CQC, which is fine until the being you're fighting can see you throwing your fastest, strongest punches in slow motion, and simply sidestep anything you throw at them, step in close and cave your skull in with an armoured elbow. In literally all of these cases, for one reason or another, a Spartan would win. Spartans are over 2 meters tall, they weigh half a ton, they have reflexes on the order of being imperceptible, bordering on instantaneous, they can punch holes in titanium, lift incredibly heavy loads, sprint at nearly 40 miles an hour, and wear armour specifically designed to amplify everything they can give. Spartans are overpowered. But are they? In Halo, Spartans are humanity's perfect soldiers. They're the literal epitome of super soldier, and they exhibit capabilities far outside of the human base level performance. Yet by 2552, Master Chief was considered to be the last Spartan. Although we now know that this is to be inaccurate due to the classified deployments of Spartans across various fields of battle across the galaxy, if you consider that the Spartan 2 program had 150 potential candidates, of which 75 candidates made it into the program, 43 survived the augmentation procedures, and a further 3 washouts made it into active duty, with another 3 of the washouts likely to have made it into active duty, but likely not as fully augmented and Mjolnir armoured Spartans. So with the known individuals and rehabilitated to Spartan level individuals, there were at least 46 Spartan 2s serving during the Human Covenant War. 46 of humanity's most powerful warriors. Knowing what Master Chief is capable of and capable of surviving, having 46 Spartan 2s ready to be dispatched into combat is phenomenal, yet by 2552, 30 of the 46 known Spartan 2s were listed as MIA under ONI Directive 930, whereby no Spartan could be listed as KIA and instead should be listed as MIA or WIA to maintain the legend that no Spartan was ever killed in combat. That leaves only 16 Spartan 2s still believed to be active as of 2552, and as I said, it was believed for a time that Master Chief was actually the last. So how can so many of humanity's best fall if they're apparently so overpowered? Because in the Halo universe, they're not overpowered. If we watch how the emergence of Atriox played out for the 3 Spartan 2s of Red Team, we see how effortlessly Atriox manhandles the 3 fully augmented and armoured Spartans. He lifts Alice, weighing approximately half a ton, clean off the floor by the throat without effort. He fights off the combined attacks of the Spartans, and in one particularly brutal scene, he grips the shoulder of Douglas with such force that he cripples the titanium armour plating of Mjolnir under the force of its grip, and applies sufficient pressure to Douglas's shoulder that he likely either completely dislocated his shoulder or more likely fractured his shoulder joint and likely shattered his collarbone altogether. This display of overpowering strength from the brutes is not isolated to this one event, or indeed just the brutes. When John 117, Grace 093, Fred 104, Linda 058 and William 043 all boarded the unyielding Hierophant to destroy it and hold an earlier attempt at the Covenant invasion of Earth during Operation First Strike, they encountered the brutes in combat for the first time. Grace was killed outright by 3 brute shot rounds to the stomach, which tore her midsection apart, killing her instantly. While the other brutes kept the Spartans pinned down, one brute attacked John, pinning him to the wall and lifting him clean off of his feet, squeezing his throat with so much force that his shields failed completely and applied sufficient pressure through his suit to cause him to begin losing consciousness. It was only due to a partial recharge of his shields creating a resistance force between the brute's palm and his throat, and a perfectly timed counter, that John didn't lose consciousness altogether, and likely to be killed immediately thereafter. Brute's large, stocky appearance is most likely due to the gravity on their planet, which is about twice that of Earth. They are immensely strong, surpassing the strength of both elites and Spartan 2s, hence the Brute moniker, and are capable of delivering crushing blows in hand-to-hand combat. In addition to having extraordinary physical endurance, their teeth are very sharp and are frequently used as natural weapons. Their incredible physical strength coupled with a dogged determination to kill their target makes a berserk Jiralhane a force to be reckoned with, being powerful enough to even kill a hunter. Speaking of hunters, they stand between 12 and 13 feet tall, but during combat they hunch themselves over to protect their vulnerable neck and midsection, reducing their height to roughly 8 feet. Their shields and armour protect them from almost every form of plasma-based or ballistic weaponry available to the Covenant and human infantry alike. And the shield, a powerful melee tool capable of crushing anything in its path and allowing the hunter to neutralise most enemies in close combat. Made of an assembly of Letgolo worms approximately 1.5 metres in length and weighing between 5 and 30 kilograms, each individual hunter worm effectively acts as part of the hunter's collective consciousness and a single muscle, making the hunters phenomenally strong and very fast for creatures of their size. It is on record that elites are near perfect matches in physical strength and training to Spartan 2s, and it has been displayed on many occasions that when in close quarters, Spartans and elites grappling and attempting to overpower each other results in a stalemate. Forerunner warrior servants, although predominantly absent from the Halo universe at this time, are also believed to either match or supersede the strength, speed and physicality of Spartans in battle. The weapons that Spartans face in combat are plasma-based weapons, plasma being a superheated gas capable of melting and breaching Mjolnir armour with ease should a Spartan be fired upon without their energy shields in place. And even the sheer number of foes that the average Spartan has to deal with makes for a disproportional ratio of opponents. Spartans are at best a match for the larger, more dangerous species of the Halo universe, and at worst they are outgunned, outnumbered and outmatched. Their only saving grace being their significantly better training and supporting technological enhancements, reaction times and combat adaptability. So in comparison to many, not all, but many other universes, Spartans are ridiculously overpowered, capable of shrugging off practically any opponent proposed, but their seemingly immense power is tempered by their existence within a universe filled with species as strong and in many cases significantly stronger than themselves. This makes Spartans humanity's greatest warriors, but also somewhat of an underdog, especially when you consider a big emergent threat in the galaxy right now is the Banished. And if brutes weren't powerful enough already, they seem to have started developing their own powered exoskeletons. If you can't classify them as a threat, I really don't know what is. Thanks for watching. Stick your comments down below and I look forward to what you have to say. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Nathan the Silent Cartographer, Miguel, Brian, Sebastian and Holden, the holders of the mantle, Justin, Darian, Ty, Iron Griffin and Black Biscuit, my reclaimers, Zach, Deep Cover, Verbal Statue, Specico, Spartan A498, Guppy and Josh, my Metarchs, and all the other patrons that have jumped aboard to support the channel. I know I say it every video, but I can't put it into words. It's amazing to have you guys on board and supporting the channel. It really is. If you like Halo lore discussed to insane levels of detail, hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you're told the second a new video hits the shelves. Be sure to support us on all social media channels including Discord, and if you really love the channel, consider heading over to Patreon and supporting the channel over there. It would mean the world to me and would free up more of my time for me to put into this content and other Halo related goodness. Take it easy everyone. Find peace in the domain.